Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to learn about two topics. The first one is the right of hire options in the issue of consumerism in Malaysia, and the second one is the comparison between contract in Bai As-Salam and Istisna. So stay tuned if you want to know more about these two topics. In Islamic jurisprudence, the theory of contracts discusses the notions of options within the framework of al-hiyar in exchange contracts. So, what is actually hiyar? Hiyar is an option to continue or discontinue the contract due to certain circumstances. Both parties were given the option to choose to continue the sales or to discontinue according to the rules or certain circumstances. Usually, the decision of hiyar is based on the price agreed by both parties. The agreement between both parties should be during the same ceremony to discuss and focus on the respective transaction and is valid as long as they have not departed from the place of negotiation. While there is al-hiyar, the permissibility of various options or hiyar under the Shariah is justified on the grounds of larger benefits to the society. The reasons why there is hiyar are due to the possibility of conflict between both parties, or the contract may be dead under conditions of excessive gharar or uncertainty, or latent flaw or defect unknown to the parties at the time of the conclusion of the contract. Through options or hiyar, the parties to the contract are granted a reassessment or cooling off period, hence enabling them to rationalize their decision or reverse them if necessary. Thus, the possibility of conflict between the parties because of their hasty, irrational, and wrong decision is minimized. Options also provide alternative for reduction of uncertainty and gharar as well as fraud and cheating.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Aiman bin Muhammad Hussein. Option of cession or hiyar al-majlis is the right for both parties between seller and buyer to perform the transaction or cancel it as long as still in the place or the transaction. The option is available to either parties concerned and should be decided before conclusion of contract. When both have departed from the ceremony, then the right of the hiyar will be lost until there can be made no more change of situation. This hiyar based on hadith from the Prophet Muhammad SAW. Seller and buyers can do hiyar before it separates, narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. For example, when we make a sale and purchase, contract like buy a dress at a clothing store and the type of clothes vary, and we as a buyer have the right to choose which clothes we want to buy. An option of cession still going on until one of the parties leave the place, then the option of cession at the ends. Hiyar or option during the observation have been defined basically as a right to a purchase at the confirm a purchase agreement or reject it after seeing the subject of the contract that have been agreed. It valid as long the offering never sees or inspect the subject matter of contract before or during the conclusion of contract. This hiyar based on hadith. Whoever buys something he has never seen, then for him the right to hiyar when he sees it. Hadith riwayat Al-Darqutni from Abu Hurairah. Example for this hiyar is in buying motorcycle or car process. The concept here for hiyar apply when potential buyer are allowed to test drive any vehicle they want to buy. Then after the buyer agrees to buy the vehicle, when the vehicle he ordered arrives but it's not the same as what he tried first, then the buyer has the hiyar to cancel the transaction. Another example for this hiyar, a person want to rent a house and has got the house for rent but has not seen the house. When he want to go to the house, he saw that the house was very old. He has the option of cancelling this contract by using hiyar provided he has indeed never come and seen the house.
Okay, next I will explain about hiyar syarat, which is an optional condition. Hiyar syarat is an option for the contracting parties to dissolve the contract within specific period stipulated during the contract. Buyer or seller can put a condition that he has an option to cancel within the specific 4 days. Specification of the days is necessary for this hiyar. Within this period, he has the right to cancel the sale without any reason. If the buyer puts the condition, it is called hiyar mushtari, which is an option of buyer. but when it is put by the seller, it is called hiyar ibad, which is an option of seller. Okay, example for hiyar syarat. Fatima has ordered a handbag from Charles and Kate. She promised to pay within 2 days. But after 2 days, Fatima didn't pay for it. So, Charles and Kate has here to cancel her order. Okay, next hiyar aib, which is an option of defect. Hiyar aib is an option for the contracting parties to dissolve the contract based on discovery of subject matter defect. It is where the goods can be returned if it found defective. It is the responsibility of the seller to supply goods free of error or point out the defect to the buyer. He is not allowed to cover the defect of the goods, which can constitute as fraud. In one of the hadith, Prophet has stated, "He is not among us who indulges in fraud." Therefore, the buyer has the right to return the good in case of the defect, which is considered a defect in the market and which depreciate the value of the goods. Okay, an example for hiyar aib. Shakila has bought batteries from the DIY store. However, she has the option to return them to the store if the battery are found to be defective or not in working condition.
In conclusion, essentially, hiyar was created to serve the needs of Islamic economic transactions. These interests include the protections of both parties' benefits and wills in a contract, as well as the prevention of future harm to their businesses. Islam has supplied the finest option for ensuring humans' life welfare in all aspects. This is unarguable. In order to maximize the interests of both parties in the transaction, the application of laws in transaction contracts should be widened and referred to the law of contract as specified in Islamic law.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Shazani binti Zulkifli. Today I would like to present about Bai' as-Salam and Istisna. First, let me explain about Bai' as-Salam. Bai' as-Salam is a form of forward contract when an advance payment is made for a particular goods that will be delivered in the future on a fixed future date. In other words, the transaction is called Bai' as-Salam when it is a sale for an agreed price with immediate payment for a determinate things to be delivered in the future on a fixed date. The Prophet Muhammad SAW permitted Bai' as-Salam under certain situations. The sale and purchase of non-existent goods are prohibited because of gharar. The Bai' as-Salam is permissible activity that is adopted by the Sunnah to facilitate certain activities in agriculture and industry. When a buyer and a seller make a contract for selling in advance the certain goods or product depends on Islamic Sharia. Buyers have agreed to pay the price on execution of the said contract, and at a future time in a particular place the goods are delivered as per specification, size, quality, quantity. The pillars of Bai' as-Salam is buyers, seller, product, price and sirah. Now I will explain about istisna. Literally, the word of istisna is derived from the root word sana or to manufacture. Istisna is a contract agreement in which a manufacturer is asked to supply goods of specification at agreed rates, place and time for delivery. Istisna is a request to manufacture something in which the requester invites someone else to make or manufacture something for him. Istisna contract must be binding on the contracting parties upon entering the contract that fulfills the essential elements of istisna contract, which must include specification of the istisna asset and determination of the price, place and time of delivery and mode of payment. Istisna contract allows a customer to place an order with a manufacturer to have a certain product made to a specific specification at an agreed price, which can be paid in advance or on completion. In a contract of istisna, the subject matter should be well defined, leaving no room for uncertainty with respect to either the quality or quantity of goods involved. The price should likewise be well determined. The pillars of istisna are manufacturer, customer, the product, the price, and sigha.
Next, I will continue with the condition of buy salam and istisna. For buy salam, it has a three condition, which is condition related to the price, purchase commodities, and date and place of delivery. For price, it must be clearly determined and paid in full by the buyer at the time of undertaking sale to avoid later dispute. The seller must take possession of the price in full before departing one another. Otherwise, it will be similar to the sale of debt for a debt which is forfeited. However, Maliki jurists allow it to be paid within a few days, as it is not stipulated as condition. Cash payment are not necessary in buy salam. The buyers must credit it into a seller's account. Most importantly, if the price is per ribawi item, it is not allowed to be exchanged for another ribawi item. For example, exchange wheat and barley. For purchase commodities, the quantity and quality of the product must be specified. If not, it cannot be sold throughout buy salam. The commodities must be vastly available in the market at the time of contract until the time of delivery to ensure the capability of the trader to deliver the product. Quantity, weight and measure of the commodities must be agreed upon in equivocal terms. And lastly, for place and date of delivery, it must be specified in the contract. However, scholars have a different opinions of the duration of time of delivery, either in 3 days, more than half a day, 30 days, or up to the contracting parties to decide. Next, I will go to the condition of istisna. It also has a three condition, which is condition to the subject matter, price, and date of delivery. For subject matter, the object to be manufactured must be precisely determined in its type, kind, and quality and quantity, considering that istisna is a form of sale of non-existent object. The object of istisna contract also must be something that people familiar with it. If the subject matter does not conform to the contractor's specification of the time of delivery, the purchaser has the right to either refuse it or accept it. For time of delivery of manufactured object, it must be clearly determined in the contract to avoid uncertainty and ambiguity, which may later dispute. However, the customer is permitted to penalize the manufacturer if he fails to deliver the product on the specified date. And lastly is price of istisna. It can be in the form of money, used product, and commodities. The price of istisna may be spot and differ from buy salam, which is it can be paid through installment that tie up with different stage of the project.
Next, I will share the differences between buy salam and istisna. There are several points of difference between istisna and buy salam, which are: the subject matter of istisna is always a thing which needs manufacturing, while the subject matter of buy salam can be affected on anything, no matter whether it needs manufacturing or not. The second difference is it is necessary for buy salam that the price is paid in full advance, while it is not necessary in istisna. Payment for istisna can be made in staggered basis. For the third difference, if the contract of buy salam once effected, it cannot be cancelled unilaterally, while the contract of istisna can be cancelled before the manufacturer starts to work. The next difference is the object of the buy salam is a liability on the seller to deliver, thus should be in the form of fungible goods, which is easily replaced from the market. Under the istisna, the asset manufactured must meet specification of the order, and the buyer has the right not to take possession of the asset if the specifications are not met. Other than that, the time of delivery is an essential part of the sale in buy salam, while it is not necessary in istisna that the time of delivery is fixed. Any penalty for charge late delivery can reduce the price of an istisna contract, but in buy salam, the penalty amount is paid to charity, not taken as benefit for the buyer. Next, the motivation for buy as-salam is the seller's need for immediate funds to spend for his family's sustenance, as well as to help him with his production. On the other hand, istisna is a commercial contract that results in profits for the manufacturer while meeting the needs of the commissioner to manufacture. Hence, the motivating need for this contract is the need of the buyer rather than the seller. For the last difference, buy as-salam contract is binding on both parties and may only be voided by mutual agreement. On the contrary, istisna is not binding and may be voided by either party. If the manufacturer delivers the manufactured object to the commissioner to manufacture, he loses his option but the buyer retains his. That's all for the difference of buy as-salam and istisna.